At the end of Dark Souls 3, there's a moment that I think people miss. You collect the blood of a dying pygmy, a man who spent his entire existence chasing the Dark Soul, as many did before him. And you hand it to a girl. She is going to use it to paint a new world, a better world. Most people treat that as a bittersweet epilogue to the series. I think it's more than that, and I think it's the most important scene in all of FromSoft history. Because I don't believe that girl painted one world. I believe her bloodline has painted all of them, and the pigment she used can still be felt centuries later in the drops of blood that are spilt in Yharnam, and in every inch of the Sakura dragon's immortality. Here's the foundation. Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, and Elden Ring are not separate universes. They are the same dying world, kept alive across millennia by bolting new power sources onto a dying cosmic frame. The first flame, the Throne of Want, the Ringed City, and the Erd Tree. Different names, different eras, but it's that same world refusing to die. But around that main world, there are pockets, painted dimensions, created by a specific lineage in my eyes. The descendants of Priscilla, half dragon, half divine, born a literal being, too dangerous to exist in its main world. Priscilla was locked in a painted world herself, and somewhere along the line, her bloodline learnt to make them. That's the architecture. One real world, multiple painted ones, each needing a power source, each reflecting the hand that made it. So let's meet the painted worlds. Number 1, Kingsfield. It's where the lineage starts, and you can kind of tell. It's the first game from FromSoft, but it's also mirroring what I believe an early version of the lineage could create. The worlds are rough, the mechanics of reality don't hold together well, navigation is disorienting. The logic of the world is almost dreamlike. Enemies and environments feel like they're being held together by their own concept more than the structure of the world. That's not a limitation of the hardware necessarily. It could be seen as a young painter still learning the craft, and a young FromSoft still learning theirs. Kingsfield is probably one of the earliest attempts by Priscilla's line to create a stable pocket dimension. The intention is there, the power source is there, but the brushwork is shaky. The world keeps trying to collapse back into darkness because whoever made it hadn't quite figured out how to anchor it properly. It's a first drawing, precious because of what it becomes, not because of what it is right now. I'm also going to go forward in time, but still before the realm of Dark Souls. We have Demon Souls, and this one is fascinating because it's not really trying to make something entirely new. It feels like it's trying to replicate the main world, the Dark Souls world. Look at the structure, the great arc stone holding reality together, a deep fog consuming the edges of the world, an ancient, incomprehensible entity, the Old One, acting as a kind of twisted first flame analogue, something vast and primal at the centre of everything. The painter here wasn't really being creative. They were doing a technical exercise. Let me rebuild Dark Souls' framework inside the pocket dimension and see if it holds together. But it doesn't. The Old One isn't a stable power source. It's a parasite to that world. It sustains by consuming. The fog doesn't maintain the world, it eats it. Demon Souls is the painted world equivalent of a controlled experiment that goes critically wrong. The lesson Priscilla's bloodline learns here is that you can't just copy the main world's architecture. You need to build upon it. You need new things that are original. Something with your blood flowing through it. And this is the hinge of my entire theory. Dark Souls 3, the Ringed City. You hunt down Gale, the slave knight, who spent centuries consuming every last Dark Soul he could find until the power of the entire pygmy lineage was concentrated inside him. You take that blood containing the Dark Soul and you bring it to the painter. She doesn't just say thank you and this is the move on part. She says what she's going to do. She's going to paint a new world. A cold, dark, gentle place. And she needs that specific blood as the pigment. Why that blood? Because Gale's blood isn't just powerful. It's the concentrated essence, if you remember well, of humanity. Of the human cosmic energy. The Dark Soul is the foundation of what makes the main world cycle run. You can't copy the main world, but if you paint with the actual raw material that the main world runs on, you get something real and raw, something that can hold together. And here's my proof. Look at what the two worlds I believe painted with that blood have in common. It is the blood. Both of them centrally figure around blood. Bloodborne's entire civilization is built around blood ministration. The healing church's power comes from blood. The path to enlightenment is through blood. The great ones bleed, the hunters bleed, the cure and the disease are both blood. That's not just a gothic aesthetic choice. It feels like the world was made from the blood of everyone in it. It's made from that pigment. And every living thing inside that world carries the origin of blood in their biology. The Great Ones themselves, descendants of demigods, I believe, sent into this painted world, much like Priscilla before them, and mutated beyond recognition by centuries inside a compressed pocket dimension. I don't think they're cosmic outsiders. I think they're the installed power sources of the painted world, broken by the process of maintaining it. The moon presence, I believe, is its main maintainer, sustaining the painted world of Yharnam through presence, through the hunt, through the cycle of blood. God, they love their cycles. And when the hunter defeats the moon presence and ascends to become a great one themselves, that's not an ending. That's the painted world installing a new maintainer. The brush is past. The painting continues. For now. Sekiro gets painted with, I believe, the same pigment. Gale's blood. But the painter had a different vision in mind with this one. Where Bloodborne is dark, wet, and consuming, Sekiro is precise, deliberate, and almost ancient feeling. Its relationship with blood is differently expressed. The divine dragon immortal blood flows through Sekiro himself. It's literally in his veins, given through the rejuvenating waters carried in the dragon's heritage. The power source of this painted world doesn't sit in the sky like some sort of twisted moon. It bleeds directly into its chosen vessel. The visual world of Sekiro, the samurai, the architecture, the divine warriors, maps onto character archetypes buried deep in the Dark Souls franchise. Because Priscilla's descendant painted it from memory, from reference. A world shaped like something she'd seen in the main world story, but powered by something new. The conflict of the whole game is what happens when mortals try to weaponize the dragon's blood, rather than let it do its cosmological job. The maintainer is being bled out. The painted world starts tearing at the seams, and that's where causality begins to break. The undying stack up. Sekiro isn't about war, it's about a painted world whose power source is being killed by the people who live inside it. And through all this, the main world keeps grinding forward. Dark Souls 1 has the first flame fade. The new one is linked, and then in Dark Souls 2, the cycle continues through thrones that are claimed. Power sources swap in and out. Dark Souls 3, the fire, is almost gone for real. The painter gets Gale's blood and leaves. Elden Ring, the Erd Tree, the Greater Will's final, desperate attempt to hold the main world together with a different kind of divine architecture entirely. See, I see the shattering as not just a political crisis. I see it as the main world's last power source fracturing. The Tarnished becoming Elden Lord is the universe trying to install one final maintainer into a framework that fundamentally is just done. The painted worlds outlive the painting. The main world ends, but the pockets remain. Priscilla's bloodline didn't just make side stories, they made universes upon universes of survivors. My complete picture stems from the one main world, Dark Souls through Elden Ring, kept alive across ages by swapping out power sources until there's nothing left to swap. Around it, a lineage descended from Priscilla, painting Pocket Dimensions, Kingsfield, the shaky first draft, Demon Souls, the failed clone that proved you can't just copy the original, and then Gale's Blood changes everything and brings us Bloodborne and Sekiro, painted with the concentrated essence of the Dark Soul itself. They become the most stable, most alive worlds this lineage has ever made. And you can feel the pigment in every drop of blood in both of them. FromSoft hasn't been making sequels and spiritual successors. They've been showing you one universe that knew it was dying, and the family that spent centuries learning how to save their people, to save something from the darkness. The main world is gone. The paintings are still here. And somewhere, Priscilla's descendants are grabbing a new canvas. If there's a lore detail that breaks this theory, please tell me about it. Please drop it below. And if this video reached you and you want me to do more things on video games, because I normally do TV shows, please tell me. Because the Souls games are something I'm incredibly passionate about. And what inspired me to make this video is hearing that there will be a Bloodborne movie coming soon. So yeah, thanks a lot everyone. I've been Yugi Joe, and peace.